Hey, this is Kyle with Wild Hair Moto. Here doing another video on the Beta 300RR Race Edition. This one I want to talk about and examine the twin spark system. Alright, so let's start the video here taking a look at what Beta says about the twin spark or the dual spark system and some different things about it. So last year in 2024, the 2024 model year, they put this on the 300RR Race Edition only, and this year they've expanded it to the two-stroke 250RR Race Edition, or what they now in 2025 just call the RR Race. But going back a little further, I wasn't paying attention when this first happened, but they actually offered this as an aftermarket kit. I think inspired by something the race team was using. You know, I've heard little notes like that, but who really knows? So I don't know how popular this was or what kind of performance gains it offered, but this idea existed before the 2024 model year. If you look at the fitment on this, it's for model year 2022 plus, they say. So it's kind of an interesting note there. Not super relevant, I guess, but just, you know, a little bit of the history. So now we look at the we'll look at the 250 page. That it has the same kind of bullet points about it. The 250 now incorporates a new cylinder head with dual spark plug, improving the specifications of the engine. The delivery is more linear, and despite the increase in maximum power, the bike's docility is significantly greater. So more power and more gentle at the same time, supposedly. Offers cleaner burning ignition, improvement in fuel consumption. My bike is a gas hog. I don't want to know how bad it was with a single plug. Range of use is further extended as both greater torque and more power are available. That very well may be true on a dyno chart. I don't know. The bike's great. I love it. I don't get the sense that it's that much different than another two-stroke. But again, I never rode the single spark plug bike. And the two spark plugs are managed with a completely separated electrical system. That means that if one goes down, the other one will still get you home. So that's interesting. We can scroll down here. They've got the close-up picture of the head there. They come with these little rubber grommets on them. I wonder if those are actually there because this is a smaller diameter plug. Maybe they're using the same spark plug boots on the ignition wire that would be used on a bigger plug, and so this might be making it fit a little tighter. I've heard some other guys on a video, I think on Highland Cycles, saying, you know, this part stuck on the plug and was ripped out of the wire. This is a separate part. This little grommet in the parts diagram is its own part. It doesn't fall out of the spark plug wire like some people might think. I also heard complaints that people couldn't get their spark plug socket on here because this was getting in the way. As you'll see in the video in a little bit, it's not a problem at all. The spark plug socket that they give you with the bike, and I think just a standard spark plug socket, at least without a rubber insert in it, would pop right over this. You don't need to take that thing off. You only need to take it off if you're going to switch plugs to put it on your new plug to make sure that your spark plug wire fits tightly, I assume. And if we go down here, it's got a Kokusan ignition system, uses the MR7 BI8 ×2. So let's take a look at how much these things cost. First, we'll look at like an OEM supplier. So yeah, here I'm looking at the 2024 300RR, but it's all the same. So we can see, yeah, two spark plugs. It's got a separate part number for that rubber grommet. That was how I confirmed it's not guts that come out of the spark plug wire. It's just its own part. And what do we have here? For the race edition, MR7 BI8 for $30. Yikes, that is painful. Now let's take a look at a normal kind of Beta parts supplier. This is a Sierra Motorcycle Supply, a pretty big supplier here in the US. These are each and $19.95. That's quite a bit better. Still not super cheap, but you know, it's an Iridium plug. The bad reviews here I've read before, they say, you're showing two in the picture and you're only sending me one. I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and debate about the way they set up their site. But yeah, that's each, as confirmed in the negative reviews. Where I got my extra plugs, doing some research myself, was on Chaparral Motorsports, an old website I like to use as a 90s kid. It's also just a good site. And I just looked up the MR7 BI8 model number, and regular price is $19, so we're already beating the best price for the Beta part online. And they're on sale for $12.18, and I bought mine a couple months ago. So I think that price is basically here. And just out of curiosity, I scrolled down to look at fitment to see, hey, what are these actually being fit for? And if you look, they're for Can-Am Spyder F3s, a variety of models going up to 2018 and as far back as 2014. So a good way to do extra research on the best price for these plugs and availability of these plugs would be to look up for a Can-Am F3, I think it was. So this is how I got mine, 12 bucks each, not too bad. If you look at RockyMountain.com for, like, let's just do it right now. I'm using a different computer here. Usually if I type rock, it just goes right to RockyMountain.com. Let's look at dirt bike parts, electrical, NGK resistor spark plug. We want a G-rated spark plug. Let's go with the BR80G from one of the better priced websites that there is. It's $6.99. So we're looking at $12 versus $7. So that is more, and you do need 2 of them, but it's not, you know, out of this world. Also, you know, you can't find them on Rocky Mountain, but if you looked up an Iridium spark plug for, you know, something like a YZ250 where I would normally buy one of these for, it's going to be pretty high too. I wouldn't be surprised if it's maybe even more than 12 bucks. So you're getting an oddball plug. That's part of the explanation for the price, but it's also an Iridium plug. Not that that's necessary, but you know, if you're sitting there worrying about the price, it's something to consider. It's not just an oddball plug, it's also an Iridium plug.
So I've seen some YouTube videos on more popular channels about the twin spark system, and not really positive ones. You know, guys taking apart their whole bike, trying to get the spark plugs out. Guys switching away to the single spark plug ignition system, you know, putting an older head on it and going that whole route. So I was a little skeptical when I got it that I might not be happy with it. But I'm now, you know, 2 races, a bunch of rides, a motocross track day, and about 14 total hours into the bike. And it's been trouble-free for me. I haven't fouled any plugs, haven't pulled any plugs, and it's been fine. So I don't have any reason to pull the plugs today, but I figured let's see how hard they are to get out and see how long it takes and all that. Maybe it's worse than I think. The other thing to talk about would be the tools. So here's the Beta toolkit. It comes with this specialty socket, which should fit on the spark plugs. And I believe it comes, this is probably a spark plug wrench for a normal plug. I'm not sure. I don't have one handy to check it. This is not the right size on either side for these plugs. So they're probably just including this in the kit to be, you know, whatever that is, and a spoke wrench. So it doesn't come with a proper spark plug wrench in the kit. So I'm going to need an oddball 16 millimeter wrench and this. So I'm going to start a timer on the video when I do the edit, and let's go ahead and take these off. I'll start with the top one. There we go. Pop the boot off. And let's just put the wrench on it. See if I can get the box end on it. Yep. It's loose. It's so easy, you don't even have to clean your bike. Just kidding. You should probably do this with a clean bike if you have a choice. Mine is not clean. I didn't even look at doing it from the other side of the bike. I just figured let's just walk up to the bike and do the spark plugs. I think this side probably is the easy side. The tank droops down a little lower on the other side. I'm just turning it and turning it and turning it with my fingers right now. That's what she said. Got it. There it is. Looks black, but not horrible. Has this kind of rubber thing on it, and then this guy. MR7BI8. So yeah, this is, I think they had a different model number in the manual, and then this is what I found on the plug itself, so I ordered these. All right, we're against the clock here. Let's not waste any time. So we've got a really long spark plug wire here, so I think that'll be obvious. That's the front. And then this one kind of hangs down there, so I'm not going to worry about marking those. This one sits a little bit recessed in there. Socket goes right on. Box end goes right on. Socket gives me a little better grip on it. So I'm working faster on this one. Boom. It's a little black, but not too bad. Awesome. I don't feel any rubber grommets sitting in there, so I think that's just on the top one. All right. Let's put it back. Just wanted to add a little future hair moto voiceover note here while I'm putting that spark plug back in. The real pain in the butt spark plug on the system is the top one. It's harder to get off. It's a little harder to fit the spark plug wire on, as you'll see in a minute. Just a little bit harder to access. So if there's a pain in the butt spark plug in this twin spark system, it's the one on top that you would have anyway in a single spark plug system. And the top one. Having a little trouble finding the hole. Typical Friday night, right guys? Got it started. finger tight. Just gotta get this boot on. Time. Let's make sure it starts. Probably need some gas in there, huh? Fuel on, choke on. So there we are, 7.5 minutes to swap spark plugs on this thing. I could definitely do it faster as I got more practice. This is my first time doing it on this bike. And as I noted earlier, the most difficult one was the top one, the one you're not going to do anything about. The rear spark plug was just fine. So no real worries there. I guess you got to carry a 16mm wrench and a spark plug socket to service it, so it's slightly more weight or more count of tools that you would need to carry in a trail tool bag to be able to service it, and you'd have to carry 2 small spark plugs. And I don't know if you could really say it's worth it. A single spark system would probably be fine. I don't know that the dual spark system is a reason to buy one of these bikes. If I already had a 23 300 or a 24 250 that I was really happy with, I wouldn't sell it just to buy the new bike with the twin spark system. But I think the real question is, should I be scared of one of these bikes because of the system? Should I stay away from it? Should it be the reason I decide to go to a Sherco or a Riehu instead of the Beta? I would say no. I would say it's maybe a slight positive, and it's not very much costly at all. The spark plugs are $12 instead of $7. It's maybe a couple more minutes to swap them out, but it might run better. Like I said, I haven't done them back to back, so I can't say. So I'd say it's not, the greatest selling point in the world. I don't think it's anything to scare you off. You don't need to take the tank off. The spark plug wire doesn't gut itself when you take it off. The spark plugs aren't $30. So all those kind of little myths I heard floating around there, not really concerns. Some people say it's just a gimmick. I don't know. I think that's kind of a negative way to look at it. Maybe it's true. The way I look at it, sort of philosophically, is that it's a good sign of the way that Beta is innovating their 2-stroke race bikes. We see other companies that came out with TPI a few years ago, which was, don't kill me in the comments, but riddled with issues would be safe to say. Most of the people I've met who are really happy with TPI had it custom tuned. And that's pretty cool that you can custom tune a fuel injection system. I'll give it that. But you can also custom tune a Keihin PWK. And you can also get a Vortex ignition. So, tuning isn't really something that was ever unavailable to 2-stroke race bikes. And I don't think most people were ever that motivated to go to the ignition side of things. It's always been more of a fuel thing. So really 2-stroke tuning with a Keihin PWK is largely needles and brass and turning screws. And then, there's also the other direction that 2-stroke innovation has gone, which is like electron carb, which is, equally sensitive. So I'll tread carefully here lest my comment section blow up. But I've seen, a few people get electrons and be really happy with them. And I've seen a few people buy them with high hopes and have all that incentive to say that it's great after they spent their money. And then they just quietly go back to the Keihin. So who knows? That's just gets back to my point that I like that this is the way Beta's innovating. They're not taking anything that works great and changing it drastically. Right? They're not getting rid of the Keihin PWK carb that works really well and is so proven over so many years across so many platforms. You could say that they took something that wasn't broke and tried to fix it, right? By taking a single spark plug ignition system and quote unquote fixing it. But, at the end of the day, the worst case scenario is if it's just a total failure, you unplug one of the coils, you buy a cheap spark plug, and you put an aftermarket, single spark plug head on it. And if you look around at enduro bikes in the world, what do a lot of them already have anyway? an aftermarket head. So it's hard, it's not really, it's like a no risk innovation if you ask me. And it might be a slight improvement. I'd love to ride it back to back, between a single spark plug head and a dual spark plug head on similarly tuned bikes. But that's what I like about it. It tells me that Beta's thinking the way about bikes, the way I think about bikes. That's kind of why I bought it. So yeah, I would say don't let the Beta twin spark system scare you off. I wouldn't let it be the main reason you choose this bike. I think there are other better reasons to choose this bike. The great warranty from Beta, the fact that it's a PWK, the fact that it's got a really strong e-start system, but it also offers a kickstart option. That was the main reason I chose it over the Sherco. I figured, I might have some dissatisfaction with the start button on either bike. And if I have that on the Beta, I can get the kickstart kit, and I can't do that on the Sherco. So that was sort of the deciding factor for me. So anyway, I hope that's informative for people wondering about the Beta twin spark system, and thanks for watching.